I've over the years learned that coincidence, or rather co-incidence, refers to things happening or existing together or in harmony for a purpose. I love detective stories. And quite often, the cleverest character in the story says, there's no such thing as coincidence until you can prove that it is just coincidence. Detectives look for clues and they search for patterns. When two murders carry the same signature, that's an overlap or coincidence. They start looking for a pattern. If two blonde girls were strangled in the same town and their bodies were found with their jewelry missing, it may be coincidence. But this is a coincidence that will attract the attention of the investigator. Where you think of a person and the next moment the phone rings and it is this person calling you, that's coincidence. I like to observe the 5-second rule. This is when you think of something out of the blue, and within more or less 5 seconds, that thought materializes. For example, you're running late for a job interview, and you are lucky enough to get the last seat on the train towards your destination, or the only parking space right in front of the building where the interview is to take place. These things happen to people all the time. If two men look remarkably similar, nearly identical, that's not such a big deal. There is a belief that we all have a twin somewhere on this earth. However, if these men were born on the same day and minutes apart in the same hospital, and if they like the same clothes, get married on the same date in different cities, chose the same names for their sons, and have the same hobbies or dislikes, that's a big deal and would be called a coincidence. Then it will not come as a surprise to discover that they are twins who were separated at birth. In my own experience, I would also describe prophetic dreams, or dreams that turn out to become reality, as a coincidence. That would to me describe how my unconscious being traveled ahead of my physical body while I was asleep, so that I would be made aware of what was to come when I woke up. I've already expressed my skepticism about the branch of numerology that takes your name, surname, and date and time of birth and turn that information into a summary of your character and a prediction of your future, especially when these predictions are a result of a computer program. However, there's another application of the value of numbers that doesn't make sense to me at some level, although the jury is still out. But that's because I don't know enough about numerology yet. With the exposure of the most astonishing shenanigans in the world during the recent alleged pandemic that could not be proven to be a pandemic at any level, there have been several people who took key phrases or names and found the numerical values of these phrases. They also took key dates and reduced those dates to numbers. These numbers revealed coincidences and patterns that are astonishing, or easy to deny depending on your spiritual awareness. The wizards who crunched these numbers helped those with the right awareness to make sense of the rapid changes in the world. When you assess these numerical values, the coincidences flow thick and fast, and the patterns of good and evil that were revealed were too strong and consistent to ignore. I have a client who received a valuable painting from a well-known artist as a wedding gift, more than a decade before the artist became well-known. The client moved house several times and somehow the painting was lost. During a reading, I told the client that the painting was in an attic, covered by stuff that were far less valuable, for example, old newspapers. I was able to give her the assurance that the painting was forgotten rather than hidden, and there was no malicious intent. The person who put the painting in the attic had forgotten about it, and the owner of the painting wouldn't normally search for the painting in that place. I was sure that the painting would be discovered. About 6 months after the reading, I received confirmation from the client that she'd found the painting in the attic in their mother's house. During one of my client's house moves, she asked her mother to store the painting for her, and the mother put the painting in the attic. At the time, there were other items also destined for the attic, and the mother decided to do a single trip. Before she could collect the painting, my client moved house again, and then a few years later again. She had made peace with the fact that the painting was lost during one of these moves and had completely forgotten that she'd left the painting for her mother to store. Then the daughter had to clear out the house when the mother passed away and discovered her work of art safely hidden underneath some old newspapers. That is coincidence. Several events converging at the same time with a clear cause and an effect related to the cause.